Today we are going to talk about the miracle of science in the Quran. Till right now, they find more than 1,000 information of modern science written in the Quran more than 1,400 years ago. There's a book called It Is the Truth, People of Science Are Facing the Quran. In this book, they bring the biggest people of science in the world from Canada, from Germany, from France, from USA, majority were Americans, also from Japan, from India, from Thailand, etc. So everybody in his branch, and he's comparing what the Quran is saying, what the modern science is saying, and some of them became Muslims, others they are shocked how this information could be written more than 1,400 years ago, and we know it with the high technology now. So, for example, about the theory of Big Bang. We know that a long time ago, there was many millions years ago, there was an explosion happened, and the sun, the moon, and the earth were one mass, compact, and then everybody of them was separated. And the first cell is done from water. This is written in the Quran. Those who didn't believe, didn't recognize that the heaven and the earth were one mass, compact, and then we separate them and made from the water all living things. Would they believe? Here we means God. It's for the respect in the Arabic language. For example, we have, for example, who is making the home of the spider, the female or the male? The female is making the home of the spider, and there is a scientific from Germany. He became Muslim because of only one letter in the Quran, because we only can know the difference between the female and the male. If we put one letter more in Arabic, it means it's a female. So the female is making the home of the spider and not the male, and even sometimes the male are helping in some groups of spiders, I mean in some sorts of spiders, but it's the female is making and not the male, and this is also an explanation written in the Quran more than 1,400 years ago. About, for example, where is the lowest point on Earth? Professor George Washington, he was showing us with his telescope where is the lowest point in Earth, and when he was comparing the modern science with the Quran, and he showed us that it's in, it came directly with the telescope, it's in proximate of the Dead Sea in Jordania and Palestine. So it says in the Quran also where is the lowest point in Earth. For example, we know for information about the atoms. First, the atom exists. Second, before the people of science of Greece and Orthodox, they think that the smallest thing in the world is the atom, but now we know that there's something smaller. It is a particle. Third information is more than one atom together, they make the molecule. In 1950, the astronomer Zwicky, he discovered that the atom doesn't exist only in Earth, but everywhere. Sky, Earth, everywhere. Sky and Earth everywhere. These four informations are written in one ayah in the Quran. Ayah, like sentence, but it's not sentence that you understand what I'm talking about. For example, the plants, there's male and female in the plants. It's also written in the Quran, and we know it new. It's written more than 1,400 years ago. For example, the Professor Armstrong from USA, he was comparing the Quran with the modern science, and he's showing us that now we discovered that the iron is not coming from Earth. Because to make one atom of the iron, you need 4 times the energy of all the system solar. So it's impossible that the atom is coming from Earth. Where it's coming from? The stars, very high temperature, coming here in another form. So this is about the iron, and this is in the Quran that the iron is coming, the explanation that the iron is coming from up. And also about the iron, in the University of Sydney in Australia, there was a student, they were talking about the iron and the modern science, the Quran, and then this student, he noticed something. He said that there is a surat, it's like chapter, but it's not chapter, just you understand. The name of it is the iron, and the ayah which God is talking about the iron in it, it's the number of this surat and the number of this ayat, the difference between both of them is the same difference between the number of the atom, of the iron, and the width of the atom of the iron, or vice versa, I'm not sure. So this is about the iron. So those are the short scientific explanations of the ayahs written in the Quran. For example, XX and XY. Before, in India, they was making problems with the woman because she brings a girl. And now we know that with the modern science that there is something called XX and XY. XY means a boy and XX means a girl, and only the sperm of the man which is saying if it's a boy or a girl, and not had nothing to do with the girl. For example, in the Quran, they put the Quran in the computer and they find that the words and the opposite of the words have the same number. For example, how many times the word man or men written in the Quran, it's the same number like also like woman. And also, for example, how many times the word angel or devil written in the Quran is the same number. So words and opposite of the words got the same number in the Quran. But now something strange, how many times the word water, or the explanation of water like sea, etc., it was written 32 times. And how many times the word land written in the Quran? It was only 13. So it was not the same number. Why? So they put 32 plus 13, it gives us 45. Now we'd like to know the percentage of the water from the total and the land from the total. So we find that the water is 71% and the land is 28%. That's what we took in the geographic when we were children, that in this earth there is 71 water and there is 28 land. About the ant in the Quran, so the explanation of the ayah, that the ant, she was talking in the Quran and she's telling her friends, enter to your habitations, otherwise Solomon and his soldiers, his army, they may crash you without they notice, without they take care. So how the ant from the beginning can talk? Now we find in 2009 there is a video, it was about the ant, that she's not only talking but she's also singing. And the ant are communicating together by 3 ways, like chemical communication or visual, etc. And the ant, she was telling something strange in the Quran. She's telling her, like her other ants, enter your habitations, otherwise Solomon and his soldiers, they may crash you without they notice. In English we say, I crash the glass and I run over the insect. So how somebody can crash the ant? She's not a glass. Now we find that the body of the ant is a composition of the material of silicon, and the silicon is the majority of the composition of the glass. And then also the body of the ant doesn't contain bones. So it's not written in the Quran, for example, enter your habitation of the otherwise Solomon and his soldiers, they may break you. So there is no bones in the ant. And for example, if a human being he break an arm, so only the arm is broken, but the ant is not the same. If something is broken if something a problem in the ant, so everything is broken because it doesn't have bones. Third thing, in YouTube, 2 years ago, there is a website, there is a video on YouTube, but we don't have to do this because we respect the nature and the animals. They threw the ant from 2,000 meters up by special way, and then and even less, 1,500 to 2,000 meters, and they find that the ant, she doesn't. That the ant, we can't run over the ant because of different reasons. First, the ant, she is very light, and when she fall down after this, she doesn't, her speed doesn't go more on. Second thing, also because of the ant, she has in her antennas, she has muscles, very strong, and this is also one of the reasons. Third thing, the ant, she's making the flex when she's getting down, and we can hear it with also an apparatus. And then also the ant also, she's making this this part very big when she's getting down, so she's also resisting by this way. So those are the four reasons why we cannot run over the ant, why the ant couldn't be run over when she's getting through it from a higher place. The surah also of the Quran, the surat is chapter, it's not chapter, but that you understand, of the ant, it's in plural. Why not in single, for example? Because the ants, they used to live in groups. So if only one ant, if one ant go outside from the group, the minimum group is 7. If she go outside and she doesn't go to another group, which is minimum 7, she die normally, and she can't stay, live alone, not like the spider which is living alone. And the ant in the Quran, she's telling her friends, enter your habitation. Habitations is with S. Now we find that the habitation of the ant are very large and very big, extremely big, and they find one habitation is going through different countries like Italy, France, etc. And it's 6,000 kilometer, and very high, the habitations too. And she's telling them, enter your habitation. The word your is because it's not, doesn't belong to somebody else, to another ants. Why? Because now when they put other ants from other habitations to these habitations, they were aggressing them, and they were killing them, and they're defending their place. But when they put another ants from the same place, they didn't make any aggression toward them. So it was here to your habitations and not to habitation of somebody else. And then the ant also in the Quran, when she was talking, she was using 13 words in the Quran. And now we know in the modern science that the ant, when she's communicating, to send a complex message, she need between 10 till 20 words with a chemical way of communication. And then the ant in the Quran too, she's telling them, enter your habitation, otherwise Solomon and his soldiers and his army may crash you without they notice, without they see you. Because why without they see you? Because here she gives the excuse to Solomon and his soldiers, because if somebody believes in God and he it's clear that he has a good heart, so if he see an ant, he just doesn't have to kill her like this. He will take her, and then he's gonna avoid walking on her. So this was about the ant in the Quran, and there's still a lot of information just in this ayah, so we didn't really talk about everything, just inside in this ayah. And also about, for example, there's a book called The Bible, Quran and Science of Professor Maurice Bucaille. In this book took the first prize of gold in France, and it was translated into 11 languages. The original language is French. In 1993 it was in its 15th edition, and in this book Professor Maurice Bucaille, he was comparing the information of science in the Quran, the information of science in the Bible, and he was showing us that the information of science in the Bible is not going well with the new science. There is many mistakes, but in the Quran everything was shocked and right. And actually in the Quran the explanation also is written in the Quran that the explanation that the people, they change the word of God in the Evangelion and Torah with the